sir. The Shred Master. Very nicely done, Leonard.
Nice.
Welcome everyone to IoT Coffee Talk. And that was bad karaoke for the week. And it's in tribute of the passing of the great Oz, the Wizard of Oz, Mr. Crowley himself, Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, you're going to play War Pigs.
No. Everyone knows him for a crazy train because he was a crazy guy, riding and running a crazy train all through his life. And God bless him, or I don't know whether or not he'd rather have the devil bless him, but whatever deity bless him, he made it to 76.
Legend. He was a legend.
Yeah, and he was generally a good guy, right? I mean,
yeah, no, he was. He was a good guy.
Admittedly, I think everyone knows it. He led a pretty wild life, but
also Chuck Mangione passed away too, by the way, on the same day. So,
really?
The trumpet player, yeah. So, not as
well known, yeah. But that's I think a lot of people died on that day. It's just we don't know who they are.
That's true. Yeah.
So yeah, rest in peace to everyone who died when Ozzy Osbourne died. So at least it's like sharing a birthday, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne. And so yes, remember to like, share, and promote, because this is where we try to harvest, cultivate and harvest the uncomfortable truths about technology and IoT so that you can walk a straighter path, to value. That's what we're all about at IoT Coffee Talk. Whether we're talking about IoT or we're talking about coffee or we're talking about Edge AI, which you need to give us an update on.
Straight path to value.
Yes, or hacking, cybersecurity. What is it? Cybersecurity or cybersecurity.
Dimitri's got, Actually, Dimitri, your South Park background is very prescient because, I don't know if everyone watched the season premiere of South Park from yesterday, but it was quite controversial. So I would encourage people to go take a look at it. But
I didn't watch that. I actually didn't know there was a new season of South Park.
It just started, and it pushes the envelope of First Amendment free speech. Let me put it that way in our current political environment. So I'll just leave it at that. You guys
leave it at that, please.
There's no pushing the boundaries of free speech. It's free speech.
There you go.
It's as soon as we start questioning that, we're in trouble.
Yes, that's right. No, if you infer that there's a boundary, that's the problem, right?
Yeah. So yeah.
Good.
So remember, keep us.
By the way, this background was AI generated, and the reason I keep it is because I could. You can't anymore now. None of the model will allow you to do that anymore. They're all blocked for copyright infringement.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can't.
Well, that's actually okay by me. I think creating similarly copyrighted works is not cool.
Well,
it's not.
Yeah, I mean, I would be extremely happy if there was a mandatory watermark saying inspired by copyright material and reference to the material, but blocking it is Well,
I mean, so this is the opportunity for someone creating copyrighted works to license their data to be trained and used in the model. So the South Park folks could do a deal with OpenAI and say, you could create South Parky type stuff as long as you.
Yeah, they should pay a license, right? And
pay a license
for them to track it. There's ways for them to track it, and
exactly,
or even make it royalty free. I mean, there are some music bands that have done that. Gunship is one. Their music is free of all rights. You can use it in any internet content thing if you want. So.
There you go.
Yeah. So remember, everyone, take it seriously at your own peril. I think that's the new way we're going to put it, Pete. And that was inspired by one of your variations on that tagline. And remember, we're here just having fun. So if Rob talks about where you should invest in your next, stock venture, ignore it. Or
Yeah,
if you do
definitely
take
ignore
it,
that.
you're responsible for that mistake.
So here's a good one. You should take us as seriously, take us as seriously as you should take your AI assistant.
Yes. Generative AI is experimental, right? Remember that. And Google should remember that and put that back on their
I don't know
overviews.
if I want them to take us as seriously as their AI assistant, because some of them people take that crap seriously.
That's true.
But this is why I very carefully phrased it as you should.
Okay.
I phrased it very carefully, Bill, because I knew you would say something.
So I don't want to do a spoiler on the South Park. There was a funny scene in it where this guy is talking to his phone and he's asking it questions about this thing, and she's responding and being very encouraging to him. And he's like, "Oh, it's great to have someone to talk to." And then he says goodnight, and they pan out, and his wife is sitting next to him in the bed, kind of with her arms folded like this. Like he's spending the time talking to this AI woman on the phone, and like thanking her for all this stuff. And then he goes to sleep, and his wife is just sitting there in silence. That was cutting.
You know what? We're just going to see more and more of it, and then with ethical AI and robotics, or it's going to be weird.
Mainstream culture. It's mainstream culture now.
Yeah, you can call them
Oh,
that.
by the way, I wanted to mention something on the show because I went to last weekend. I went to Open Source. I don't know, San Francisco.
Open source. Yeah.
And I was actually stunned of the attendance. It's super young. There's, a lot of young people who are interested into this maker, creator, innovation.
Yeah.
That was absolutely super refreshing because, especially in the Bay Area, we talk to those, cowboys at OpenAI and all those old gray hair guy who is, doing investment and blah, blah, VPs or something. And it was just young people running around asking questions about a lot of 3D printing, robotics, video games, all kind of stuff, new stuff, old stuff, very, very refreshing. So open source, great.
Did you see the Edge AI Foundation cabana there with?
Yes, I actually did. You were very close to Meshtastic as well, which is a middle mesh network thing that is catching steam. Yeah, that was very, very, very
open sauce. Open sauce. Exactly. We're hip. We're cool.
So I'm doing the little
kids.
I'm doing the little promo here. They didn't send me anything. I paid full price, but highly recommended. Very, very refreshing event.
What's up, Rob? How's it going?
Open sauce.
You look like you just woke up. No offense, but
I think you realized the show was on, and you're like,
I was like, oh crap.
You do not look like a pioneer, or you look like a very tired pioneer.
Yes, that's right. I was actually up really early, and then I went back to bed. So I don't know.
Is that a real background, or did you?
It is real. It's part of the staging.
Really? I thought you guys.
Oh, that's right, for your house. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Cool.
I don't know.
Yeah, that was like not you.
Pretty funky.
Yeah.
Who is?
Definitely appeals to the Pacific Northwest home buyer.
I guess. I don't know. Part of the house is virtual staging. We have real staging. I was out watering the yard this morning early after reseeding parts of it and new landscaping.
I thought you were going to say watering your fake plants that you put in.
Yeah. Well, I'm not that bright, so I would probably be known to water fake plants. That could happen. Absolutely. Wow.
Look at it. So, yeah, I guess it's like hybrid, but those are pretty cool uses of AI, right? To be able to superimpose furniture in a space, and but then also take things out. I can imagine like they could take a photo or even a video eventually, and they can do this. Take a video of a space and then just eliminate elements in the space that you don't want, and then blend that with the super imposition of furniture or whatever other decor.
Yeah, They kind of do that. So, you can imagine traditionally when you're selling your house, obviously people come in and take lots of pictures of all the rooms and everything and what that looks like. And then it gets posted online, to Redfin and Zillow and all the other, MLS based things. But they also can go into completely empty spaces, empty rooms, empty living rooms, whatever. And they use LiDAR and cameras and a bunch of other stuff. And then, they can position furniture, paintings on the wall, all kinds of things in an empty room. And so the photo online will be this crazy virtually staged and it looks real.
Say it, Rob. Just say it. IoT. You have to thank the IoT gods for allowing that to happen, right? You said LiDAR, man.
LiDAR.
Yes. Yes. LiDAR. That's something that Elon Musk doesn't believe in.
That's true.
Right?
Because humans don't have LiDAR, so you don't.
It's like we don't need LiDAR like those mobile eye people at Intel or whatever.
I don't think he was entirely right. But then he started pulling out the proximity sensors and stuff like that, the short range stuff. And so now my Tesla thinks, the newer Teslas think that my garage is a truck.
Well, you use the word.
It shows a truck.
You use the word think, Leonard. That's the problem.
Well,
think. Is AI thinking or is it just?
It doesn't matter.
Stupid?
I'm almost sick and tired of that debate. It's like, look, the illusion is good enough.
Just like when you hear them say that it's reasoning or reasoning models. Is it really reasoning or is it just checking its answers like 3 or 4 extra times to burn more tokens? And then, I think we'll go with this.
Experts. Well, perception is reality. So.
That's true.
Well, I mean, think about it. If we people think about it, look at the prompt engineering. How do you craft your prompts to get the appropriate response? So don't ask Claude or any of them, please, because you'll confuse the model.
Don't confuse the model.
And there's actually 2 levels into that, Bill, because there's level 1, which is when you write the prompt at the user, which to some extent you can argue that, you have to think about how you write things so you get the right answer, do it properly. But then you have the layer of the system prompt that is added to your prompt, on which you usually have absolutely no visibility. And this is where the manipulation happens. And this is why, when we talk about regulation, all this regulation about consent is total bullshit. But a regulation about you have to disclose the system prompt would make a much more sense, because this is where most of the bias come nowadays. The bias doesn't come from the data. The data is the data, assuming the data is good, obviously. But the answers you get from those models, and it's actually interesting to ask the same question to models over time. I gave you the example of the images earlier in the show, because I generated my background with it, which you cannot do anymore for copyright. But take the same question and ask it over time after a few months, and you see the model starting having different answers. It's very interesting. Because it's not because of the data, it's because of the system prompt behind.
System prompts, yep. Totally
Yeah.
Deep. Yeah. I'd rather just be a DJ. Wiki.
Well, fundamentally, this is what those reasoning models do, Rob, to your point, because...
Oh, the reasoning model is like one wiki.
Because it put a system prompt...
That's pretty good.
I was thinking of Herbie Hancock.
Dude, you should just do bad karaoke. Doing that. Do like a beatbox acapella. Yeah.
But what did you get for breakfast, Rob?
Black coffee with
hemp seeds.
Yeah, shrooms. It's you went to Star Shrooms, not Starbucks.
Yeah. I was microdosing on black coffee with Truvia, I think is the sweetener. I don't know. I've been trying to do the intermittent fasting thing for the last month.
Mm.
And so I can have black coffee that tastes horrible in the morning. So some kind of non-sugar sweetener and no cream.
Well, the best thing is to start drinking coffee with no sugar. And
oh yeah, definitely. Well, just drink really good coffee, and then you don't need sugar or cream.
and
Where do we find that?
it is a
You
one.
live in the Pacific Northwest. Like,
Milan!
I'm happy to drop off a bag of beans if you need some.
You find it in Milan, which, by the way, you haven't been on a long time, so why don't you tell us about how it was in Milan?
Oh, Milan, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm over my jet lag. No, that was great. It was a lot of fun. We had it was like 3 days, 3 or 4 days of talks. I think we had like 40 talks. We had workshops, we had panels, demos, dinners, the whole thing. So I had a few hundred people kind of soaking in the Edge AI ecosystem for a few days there. A lot of folks from academia, industry, tech providers, and a lot of new partners. We've actually added like 14 new partners since February to the community, which was pretty cool.
Wow.
So Dantech was there, Microchip was there, a lot of new folks, Roofline AI, which is really cool, out of Germany. So yeah, no, it was great. And a new high water mark for us. So we set the bar high. We're actually, our next event's in Taipei, November 11th and 12th, which is currently in planning. And that's going to be another biggie. Wow, it's very exciting. So people that are in that area should definitely make their way. But Milan was a lot of fun. Actually, my wife and I were in Rome for a few days before Milan, which was cool. So we saw checked all the boxes in Rome, and then went to Verona afterward, which was beautiful. So it was just a little hot, I would say. This is like the Europe thing, If you're in Europe, I mean, it's hot, so just deal with it.
It's getting hot in here.
Yeah,
it's getting hot. But Milan was awesome, and the community keeps growing because people are just into this stuff. There's like so many different things you can now do with Edge AI, and it's seemingly endless. We just had I had 2 working group calls this morning, starting at 7:30, that were we spent most of the time introducing new people because it was just so many new folks involved. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, awesome!
That's exciting.
So, what's the emerging nonsense?
Emerging nonsense. Well, I mean,
there's going to be some companies or somebody who's just there spinning some bullshit. So, some of the kooky things. I think that this whole area of physical AI has a lot of kind of overhype, especially around the humanoid robotic space, right? So, there's a lot of practical, good applications of robotics, especially using Edge AI and even generative AI on the edge with sensors to do really critical work, dangerous work, repetitive work. The whole humanoid part of it is just a little bit of a, dancing robot that, makes you coffee that doesn't exist and costs $20,000. And so that's probably the peak of the goofiness right now. But then there's also like people applying generative AI, the talking refrigerator and all this kind of garbage. So I think generative AI on the edge is finding its footing, but not in some of these kind of consumer appliance scenarios. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Especially in like you're using generative AI to make sense of a lot of sensor data, right? So you have like hundreds of inputs of information. How do you make sense of that? Do you show some sort of weird dashboard or whatever, or do you use generative AI to sort of, interpret that information and give you some good output? So I think there's some good.
I don't think the topic of having, being able to deploy, let's say, small language models for conversational appliances or interactions with appliances is a bad thing, as long as you don't try to make it into like friggin' some R2D2 or C3PO kind of conversation. There's utility in that, especially if you can frame it around privacy and confidentiality for industrial applications. That makes a lot of sense.
And just human machine interface, right? I mean, the machines we have are just getting way too complicated, and people struggle with how many buttons and screens and things, and sometimes cutting through that with voice can make sense. I mean, that's what folks tried to do with Alexa and these platforms 10 years ago, right? Which is very limited success. So,
yeah. And I mean, it's a good warning to everyone that, to remember the hype around that. Geez, I was at Gartner at the time and it was bonkers. And there were all these people talking about how Amazon was beating Apple because they had more skills. It's like, who cares? Do people actually want to talk to these things? And it turns out, after that initial novelty of, the Alexa telling jokes or Siri telling stupid jokes, all that stuff just faded away, right? And there is this underlying issue with these assistants is that people just generally don't like talking to machines because we barely talk to each other really well and clearly. When you're trying to get something exact out of a device that probably is not as intelligent as a cat.
Yeah. I'm waiting for my my next Waymo ride in San Francisco. I think they need to add some chat function. So when I go in there, sit in the back seat, turn on my music, and then there's no driver, I can talk to the cab and ask it about what's the good restaurants around here or whatever. I think I should be able to talk to the cab driver, which is kind of ironic because the reason why people like Waymo is because there is no driver because they don't want to interact with anyone. So
yeah.
But it's like, oh, it's okay to talk to like an AI generated robot, but you don't want to actually talk to a human. It's like, what? I don't understand.
It's perfect for Gen Z.
Yeah, they can just stare into the distance. It's kind of
it's like I don't talk to humans. I get triggered if the phone rings and I have to talk to a person.
I still think that the primary value of those Waymo things is to mess up the traffic and create gigantic traffic jams. Try to use them during RSA. It's a nightmare. I had to drive to RSA for a couple of years. It was a nightmare with all those stupid things, hesitating. Can I change lane? Oh, no, it's too dangerous. Can I change lane? What is my LiDAR telling me? What is my model telling me? What is...
I think, Dimitri, I think you and I were going back and forth on that on a post. And Leonard, I think you posted it. And I was just like incensed. I mean, when I saw that, it was like everyone in town, let's jump in a Waymo. I'm like, man, look, you know what? Screw that with a capital F. I'm not about to do that and contribute to the exact thing that we're trying to resolve, which is congestion along the corridors. So I'm like, look, good on the companies that are trying to do that, but you know what? Stick to dealing with campuses and stuff like that. Don't put them out in the
exactly. Control environment. Those things will work great if they were only Waymo. But as soon as you start mixing these automated things with human,
then we just need to get rid of the human drivers. I think that's what you're saying.
Well,
no, but it's no. But the example of campuses or control environment, specific highways just for that. You got tunnels, the Elon tunnels under Las Vegas. That's a good idea. You put just automated things in a control environment, and they will optimize. But as soon as you put the human in the loop, the way humans think is different. We optimize different, and they collide. I do believe that.
Yeah, but for all of this stuff, this is the thing that I think a lot of these robotaxi companies haven't thought through really well. There's a reason why this whole rideshare thing exists, and it's to allow one of the most underutilized assets that anyone has to be monetizable. Right? It solves a problem. It solves a real human problem. I think with robotaxis, they have high value in certain niche or corner cases, right? But the reason why Uber, Lyft, and others have taken off is simply because there's increasingly more people who are in between jobs, and it creates an opportunity for them. These folks who are looking for jobs. Or are in between jobs or don't even want to get a job to basically
supplement their jobs. Maybe they have two jobs already.
Exactly. And so that really is one of the big problems that are being solved by this thing. And that's something, I posted one of my old research pieces on that. And that was the conclusion I came to as I was examining the initial hype around autonomous vehicles. And people don't talk about that because they're so fixated on the robotaxi and, speculating that this is going to be the next, X $1 trillion opportunity for Google and Tesla. And they're not really thinking through what problem are we trying to solve with this thing, right?
But I'm not sure I'm following what exactly you said, Leonard, because are you meaning that, this is a way for somebody who has a car and invests in the car to make it autonomous to make some revenue?
No.
No, because there's no
regular person, some, like what we talked about last week, middle income, low income household that has an asset that sits in the garage or it is utilized maybe 5% at a time to basically use that as a...
Oh, yeah. But this has nothing to do with robotaxi. I mean,
I'm talking about robotaxis. Yeah. Not talking about...
in this age of AI, I heard you say people thinking they're in between jobs. In the age of AI, you'll just be imagining, hoping that you're in between jobs. But what it really is you're about to be retired permanently.
Well, there are different possibilities. If you believe
retired is a nice word for what?
Retired is the best case scenario.
Like best case scenario. That's
retired,
right.
Like Logan's Run when you turn 35. Like that.
Exactly. It's like last day. Yeah. Exactly.
Everyone should watch that movie. Yeah.
Renew. Yeah. Exactly. What Stop Runner. Or like another dystopian movie. Did you ever see the movie The Island with Ewan McGregor and ScarJo? Basically you're just spare part clone for someone else in the real world, and you won the lottery and you're going to the island. But anyway,
there's also
retirement.
There's also the Matrix. We can solve the energy.
Exactly, and that's why we keep coming back to the Matrix on the show so often. Is we're going to need because what are we going to do with all extra bodies?
Well, but it's worse than that. We know that we have an energy consumption problem with all these neural nets. So it's time to turn humans into electricity generation.
Just pedal while you're in your pod.
That's what I'm saying. We talked about that.
Your Matrix pod, you'll be pedaling, and you can get credits that way. Yeah, I think it's fair.
Set up gyms and treadmills next to these data centers, and just have people go there and work out.
Yeah. And even better, you get tokens.
Yes.
So you pedal, you get tokens. The more you pedal, the more tokens.
You get tokens. Everybody wants tokens.
It's like a Black Mirror episode, right? They have a Black Mirror episode of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely they did. Yeah, remember they're every day they're on the bikes generating electricity. Black Mirror is just getting us ready for the actual future that we're having. Bye-bye stuff. Have nice time.
Are you leaving? Oh, she didn't even say a word. I
can say a few.
Yeah,
I've got to go pick up Gus. It's been a hell of a week with that cat.
What happened to Gus?
Yeah, it's not something I want. Like, we don't need to talk about that.
Okay, all right.
We have our prayers to Gus.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
All right, take care.
Yes.
So did we lose Pete? We lost Pete.
Yeah,
I think
Pete said he had to bounce.
Okay. Right. Sometimes you got to bounce. Sometimes you jump around.
Yes.
Just depends.
Sometimes your tiny ML pet is demanding. So,
I mean, if you really think about it, that it is pretty scary, right? That's probably what's going to come down to is if you take this whole ride-sharing model, right, and you somehow twist it into a solution or a paradigm that you can use to solve the Uber AI data center energy crisis. That might be kind of a cool thing, right?
Yeah, but
I don't know if it's cool, but
the problem with that business model, Leonard, is that if people are busy now pedaling to generate electricity for Uber service cars they cannot use because they are pedaling, so that doesn't work. That it has to be for another use case. It's not for Uber. It might be for OpenAI, but not for Uber.
That's an asset light approach to your post-career termination, your vocational termination scenario.
But we should
basically retire to what essentially is, the Matrix. It's a a human energy generation farm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they can set up a campus. They can, just like in the Matrix, feed you gruel.
Yeah, because you find out that you've been marked for deletion.
Yeah,
You're like,
we have the AI to entertain them while they pedal. We just give them to talk to. When you pedal, you talk to, you make more tokens.
Now, you're talking about ride sharing, but maybe we'll have Matrix pod sharing. Let's say maybe you haven't done a good enough job, and so you have to like rent out your Matrix pod to someone else while you go back out on the streets, in the real world for a while. And then, maybe you swap. It's kind of like hot racking as we did on the submarine.
Sort of like Severance, except not asynchronous, it's synchronous.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Right. Right. Yeah.
Well,
all this dystopian shit is gonna come true,
And again, it was in the Matrix movie because you had entities crossing, the agent Smiths going purely digital and then becoming human and back and forth. So it's already everything's in the movie. Everything that's all our future is in the Matrix movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
It is really odd, but it's not that far fetched because if you really think about the whole model for the sharing economy, even though it had sort of this utopian flavor to it, there is a dystopian backside, flip side to it. So it's not too far fetched to think about the possibility of these things happening, because in fact, a lot of these things are happening. We're just not acknowledging them, right? That's really the problem. It's we laugh at, we watch some, a sci-fi series or a futuristic series like Black Mirror, and we laugh and we freak out on what's being presented and represented there. But the reality is it is sort of what's happening.
Maybe this is just part of that same long continuum that we've been on. Like, people will remind you that, however many decades ago, let's just talk about the United States, it was a single earner household, and then we move forward, and then it required two earners, the husband and the wife, to be working in order to make ends meet. And this is just a continuation of that, probably, and it seems dystopian, but actually it's been this long trend into oblivion, Yeah.
Think about like the Cleaver family.
Yes.
What's happening today.
Right. And we can make a horror film now with the Cleaver family.
It would be like watching the Terminator, right? It would
pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But we don't sense it because we're just the frog in the boiling pot.
That's right. What do you think, Bill? Does this sound crazy or is this real?
I'm bugging out because it's like literally as you were saying that, I'm like, you know what? It's interesting. I heard a set of I'll say Gen Alphas talking about how screwed they are in the future because they can't stand the boomers and the Gen Xers, and because they had the opportunity to buy homes and technology wasn't killing them and all of this other stuff, and they're like, we are literally screwed. We can't even afford after college to buy a house. It is a circular thing, right? When you look at the tech that's being driven, and Dimitri, this is to your point, when you talk about the youth that are there at these open source and all of these other technology conferences, scrambling to find a way to reach into that cup of money and grab out as much as they can, which is why we see so much crap thrown against the wall. How much did it cost? In the 70s. So we're talking about 5 decades that we've already gone past. 1970s, you could buy a house for $36,000.
Yep.
Single family income. Minimum wage was between $1.50 and $2.30.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you were to take, and this is the argument that they were making, I love the debate. This is the argument that they were making, that the boomers are sitting here now saying that the new generation just does not want to work hard. And they're like, well, what are you talking about? You guys were the ones that bought up all the property and then pulled up the ladder so that we couldn't climb it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Wow, let's go.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, it's a real thing.
This is it's very interesting you're saying, Bill, because I went to an argument with some of my friends in France very recently, because there's this whole debate about, the retirement age and the retiree people saying, oh, we've been working all our life and then now we can't, you want us to work more and why are we doing this? And my question was, wait, you know what? You're 60 today. How old were you in 42 years ago? You were 18. What happened? You turn 18, you get the right to vote. So for 42 years, you voted for government that get us into this direction. And now you're claiming that it doesn't work and it's bad?
Yeah. But
who's wrong there?
I think, it's interesting you brought this up, Rob, because I think the 50s and the 60s were a really rare period in modern history, right?
But you're talking about the Industrial Revolution, right?
Oh, no. It was post World War II, and this golden era in the United States, which shaped the vision. I think it was at that point, I think, where the American dream was really minted. Right before, it was more like, hey, we don't want don't tread on me kind of stuff, right? But I think it was a really rare moment that shaped the expectations of the world of what the United States stood for at that point. Because, think about that, a single family income, you could have a car, you can have a house, your wife didn't have to work. And it was like literally, sort of this beaver cleaver, it's a beaver type of thing.
Right.
And, the thing is that, if you go to other countries, like even the UK, I mean, they've already the younger generations never really had the opportunity to buy property because there's basically landlords, age-old landlords. I mean, people who have rights, fundamental, multi-generational rights to property, right? Freehold. They have like, where all the different modalities of property.
Yes, I think more than three quarters of London is still detained by like three big families. And you don't buy a house, you buy a lease for 99 years.
And 99 years or something like that, yeah.
But you have something similar happening everywhere.
No, but that's what's happening now is in the US, because there's all these now REITs and private investors who buy up billions, if not hundreds of billions of dollars in property.
Sure. I mean, for me, again, it's really simplified. And this was the conversation that I was having with him, was that, the industrial revolutions were the things that were triggering a lot of these things, from the first to the second to the third, and now we're in the fourth. And in each, you can literally look at those periods of time. Granted, there were a number of years associated with it, but you can look at this trajectory that has not backed down. Yeah. So the best thing is to, and we always, we got into this conversation. So it wasn't all tech driven. This was a humanity conversation that was predicated on generational wealth.
Yeah.
How do you go from point A to point B? And I think it's still indeed the case, but they're blaming. It's not the blame on the generations. It's those that were within those specific generations, the boomers, and everything, that took advantage of it, and now are being seen as exploiting it. Because I'm like, well, wait a minute, it's not going to change. You're not going to go back.
Yeah. I mean, we benefited from the golden, the decline of the golden age.
Yeah. I mean, it's to me, when I look at it, and I, the people are like, well, who do you think had the most advantage? I'm going to say that Gen X probably had the greatest advantage.
Yeah.
Gen X probably had the greatest. Why? Because we saw what they're dealing with now come to fruition. We went from pagers to the brick cell phones to, the flip phones to the iPhones to, I mean, we saw all of these technological advances take place.
We didn't just see it, Bill.
We did it.
We invented it.
Yeah.
We created it.
Shaped it. Yeah.
We created the modern world.
Yeah, you created the internet and IoT.
You're welcome, everyone.
I mean, he's
a freaking architect, dude.
But I mean,
and if you're not happy, go talk to your digital twin.
Oh yeah.
And if you need a friend, get a dog.
But I mean, but look at all of those things. I have such, for me, they're not, you know, who's right, who's wrong. They're enlightening conversations about the truth of what they're dealing with. And it's like we can talk here all about the technology advances and what's next and who's wrong and everything like that. But we spin it around to look at the human impact.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, you know what? We don't have that conversation and we should.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. We should.
Is my life going to change for the better with the update to beta 4, which is also known as the first public beta, I guess?
Actually, you know what? It's pretty good. You're glad though that you didn't install the developer beta because it was a little bit clunky in terms.
I did all 3 developer betas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You did? Did you have issues?
The very next day after the launch, I did the developer beta. Yeah.
Really? I like it. It's growing on me. And I was surprised at how many intelligence functions. They're narrow, small, but they're kind of cool.
That's cool.
What do you use them for?
What do you mean? Oh, do you mean the?
Oh no, he's asking a hard question. Stop.
About stop being a smart ass, Bill.
No. Some of the summarization things.
That's what ChatGPT is good at. Summarization.
Yeah, with a grain of salt, they're not perfect, but at least they do a semi-decent job of giving keywords to identify whether or not a message or a email is important, right? I still don't trust it with the news app, news summarization, because it still does a goofy job, but they put a disclaimer on there that it's like it can twist what the articles imply. So check the articles for facts type of disclaimer, right?
Hashtag facts.
Yeah, but you know the thing is I did turn on ChatGPT, and you know what? I have Samsung, and I use Gemini. There's like almost no freaking difference. And so when people say Apple is behind, it's like, okay, behind in what? Because they literally freaking do the same shit, right? It's just that Apple stuff is pretty much all integrated into the operating system, right? And
but it really comes down. So I mean, you cannot count. If you looked at if someone were to create an ontology of applications that are out there and the verticals where they're used, you would be inundated, and it would take you the rest of the next 10 years to work your way through them to provide any type of assessment as to whether or not it's useful.
Yeah. But here, Rob, I don't know if you're encountering this, but I'm getting like alert fatigue.
Mm.
You're getting notified constantly to the point where you can't focus. And I've had to shut off a lot of these, proactive, personalized notification stuff. Like it's like, hey, a lot of this stuff I don't.
That's what we found
with this shit right now.
That's what we found in factories and all that kind of industrial stuff. Early days of systems, and then IoT and stuff like that. All based on thresholds and alerts. And people were getting so many alerts. And what do you do when you get too many? You just kind of turn it off and you don't listen anymore. Which is then why we came up with streaming analytics. We came up with windowing functions, which says during this 5-minute period, and I'm getting these anomalies or whatever, if over 5 minutes is the average enough, then yes, I'll give you an alert, but I'm not going to give it to you spuriously like that, you know?
It's interesting, Leonard, because I haven't looked at this beta, but to me, this would be an ideal use case of AI. I would like to be able to talk to my AI at my lunch. Hey, what's really important in all those 100 million alerts that I've received this morning?
Yeah.
And it should be good at that.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
Oh, most of it is bullshit, but hey, your bank called because there's this $5,000 wire that it's in.
I don't know. It depends. If it really can model your intent and then use that in predicting and then contextualizing the request, right? Outside of that, I don't think it's just going to spit out what generative AI typically spits out, which is just.
Oh, wait a second! I just had an epiphany. Thanks to Bill. So when we're talking about this transition and the evolution and how basically we created all this stuff because we're geniuses.
We did.
But then now we're dealing with the fallout, and Bill's made that crystal clear. And so when we kind of joke about, creating the matrix and everything and plugging all the people in, it just hit me now. We actually owe it to the next generation to create the matrix. It's not just something that we're going to, hey, maybe I'll do this. Actually, we are now required to build the matrix because we screwed all these subsequent generations with all this tech, and now they have no life, nowhere to live, can't afford anything. They have $500,000 in student loans. And so actually it's on us. We are required to build the matrix and plug them all in there, give them an Apple Vision Pro headset, a slow IV drip to just barely keep them alive, and they're going to have a better life that way because they'll be like hang gliding in Hawaii and they'll be doing cool stuff instead of living out on the streets. Yeah. So I feel the pressure, the weight of the world is now on my shoulders. And I know right after this call, I'm going to start designing the Matrix V1. Or actually MVP, an MVP of the Matrix.
The version 1. Dude, you were destined to do this.
It's my destiny.
Right.
But we got to start somewhere, so it's going to be an MVP of the Matrix.
Rob.
So my chair here is more. For my chair, it's more Rob's ego transforming into hunger for power. That's what I'm reading. That's what I'm saying.
I'm a servant to humanity.
Yeah,
I am here to help.
The best way to serve is to control. I agree.
Well, I got a whole different take on it.
Yeah.
I mean, my goal is I'm going to sell off one company. I'm going to turn over the second company to my kids. And then I will hire someone in between my kids and my age to do what I do. They're going to be on the board. And it's up to them. At that point, I'm like, you got a salary. It's you don't have to work for anybody but yourselves. So let's go back to the days where it was the mom and pop shops and it wasn't about, I have to go get 7 degrees so that I can go to work for company XYZ so that I can have a job, which is a 3-letter acronym for just over broke.
Boom.
Yeah, but you know what? Hey, look, I think I actually want my kids not to be too pampered. I think
how
struggle. There's ways, but yeah, the world is going to be really rough.
The last 10 or 15 years, what were we telling young people to do? Hey, go to that coding boot camp and become a software developer. You'll be set for life, making 6 figures. Oh, ouch. Oh, wow. Sorry that we pulled the rug out from under that shit with AI.
As hell, none of my kids are tech centric. None of them went to my oldest is a tree hugger. I mean, she's all about saving the environment. My middle one wants to psychoanalyze the community. And my little one is my youngest, who's 15, is like, I haven't figured it out yet, but I still got a little time.
Mm.
Yeah.
It wants nothing to do with what I do.
Yeah.
Same with me. She's interested in libraries.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are. I'm supportive of those things. I am 100% supportive of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you'd like to be a diesel engine mechanic, go do it. I'm all in. You want to be an HVAC person?
Yeah, but instead of leaving them, quote unquote, millions of dollars that they can just run through because of lifestyles, on TikTok and Instagram, leaving them in a position where they have an influx of cash that is a legacy builder. For me, I'm like,
be a landlord. That's what land is all about.
That's it. That's
property.
It.
It's the only thing that lasts, as they said in who was it? Scarlett O'Hara's father, right? And Gone with the Wind. It's the only thing that lasts. So
until they came up with this thing called eminent domain. Ouch.
Oh no.
Ouch.
I know.
Sorry, we're taking it anyway.
Yeah. So anyway,
this has been a really cheerful episode.
Totally.
Hey,
like really
reality. Look, I said I speak
English, profanity, sarcasm, and some real shit. And we got some real shit today, didn't we?
Yeah.
We got some real shit, and we owe you the Matrix. That's your destiny, is to be plugged in and having a better life in the Matrix, and it's up to us to build it. And so we're going to get that MVP, and anybody wants to sign up for the MVP, and it'll be a little different than the software MVP because you'll have to get into a pod, a primitive early pod. We'll probably use a pine box coffin to start out with, but that'll be part of the alpha testing, for the MVP. So come in and sign up. Hopefully you won't die.
Oh my god.
Oh man. It's gonna be
well,
great.
You know what? Needless to say, we earned that E for this episode. So it's wonderful.
We did.
Please do not let your children watch this episode. But ironically, we're trying to help. That's the thing, is you have to thrash through this.
We are futurists.
Dirty laundry to get to something that looks workable and decent.
Kick them when they're up, kick them when they're down, dirty laundry.
Dirty laundry. You don't know how many dirty laundry conversations I've had recently. It's friggin' crazy. What happens underneath? Yeah. Anyway,
is everybody gonna have a great weekend?
Yeah. On that note,
big plans,
Yeah, building the Matrix. Hey.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. I think so. We'll get to use
called. Yeah.
And so we'll actually need mechanical engineers as well, and industrial engineers and everything, because we got to build this thing. But what I was thinking is we'll go find, in the crappy part of town where there's burned out warehouses, we'll use something like that. We're going to need some electricity, and primitive versions of V1 or MVP pods to put people in. Yeah. Maybe some kind of IV drip, something, vitamins, keep them alive. I don't know, something just barely. I don't want to be too good for them. Probably won't be able to afford Apple Vision Pros for this MVP. We might get remember when Samsung had the cardboard VR thing?
We can use old cell phones. Yeah, it's a good idea. Just old cell phones on it,
you could use the Quest 3. Yeah. Those are pretty cheap. They're highly subsidized. So you have to pen a partnership with Meta to make all this stuff happen. And hey, the metaverse is real.
We're making the metaverse.
It's just
when we're all said and done, our tagline for this new technology is people are going to go, I choose the Matrix.
Give me the blue pill.
So I'm eating the steak.
Yeah. We need some hats. I chose the Matrix.
How do the machines know what a steak is supposed to taste like?
Everything tastes like chicken anyway.
That's right.
All right. Who wants to take us out?
All right. Thanks for everyone joining today for the most hopeful episode ever of IoT Coffee Talk. We're here giving you that bright vision of the future. You were previously thinking you had no future, no plans. You can't afford a house. You can't get a job. That coding boot camp you went to, that didn't pay off. I hope you didn't spend too much money on that. You probably did. And now you're out on the streets, picking up scraps. But we brought hope, a new world vision for you. We apologize. Gen X apologizes for inventing this whole amazing word because we're so smart. We didn't know what to do with all this talent. And so we just built the entire modern world. But we realized that maybe there was a little bit of a problem. We own everything. You got nothing and stuff like that. We created AI. It's taking it. So the Matrix is coming. We're building it. We're designing it. The architect is here. And we're excited for you to participate in the MVP of this version, the new Matrix. It's going to be awesome. It's coming soon. Also, make sure to donate to Elevate Our Kids.
That's a rough transition, but yeah.
You could go in such a wrong direction with this at this moment.
You could essentially say that we are elevating our kids and society.
Rob, reboot the Matrix and load the Elevate Our Kids program.
Okay. Hey kids, it's your Uncle Rob here. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for this uplifting deal. We've talked about some great stuff that's going on in the world. We're lifting people up everywhere. I'm spreading the love. We're all spreading the love. We're giving our knowledge. This is great stuff. We got kids we want to lift up. They need to connect. They need to learn. They need to succeed in life. And we're here to help make that happen. We are all about that. We're about give, right? That's why we're here. We're here to give. Look at those hearts shooting out at you. Come back and join us next week for another uplifting, positive, hyper-positive edition of IoT Coffee Talk. It's all good. It's all love. It's all the time. Much love. We'll see you on the other side.
And if you're a millennial or Gen Z, give us a shout. Come on the show.
Come on the show.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right,
yes.
Guys. Take care.
Yeah.
Adios.